They meet in Malaysia, Trump and Lula. And, Trump was somewhat complimentary until one question was asked, and he told that one reporter, none of your business, where she said, are you guys going to talk about Maduro? Not Maduro, I'm sorry. Are you guys going to talk about Bolsonaro, previous president? He says, none of your business. I think right there at the bottom, Rob, that's the one. Go up a little bit more. Is that the one that, how many days ago? Is that October 25th? Is he talking about Bolsonaro? No. So they met together. Now, Brazil has a guy that I would say, some may say more powerful than Lula is, Alexandre de Moraes, who comes out and kind of figures out who can beat Bolsonaro, goes back, Operation Car Wash, you reported on it many times. The few $100 million of money that was stolen, a couple billionaires, I think, went to jail, a couple guys that were worth $10, $20 billion. One guy was worth a couple $1 billion. And brings them out. They beat Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is now in very, dire...
Going to prison.
Yeah, going to prison. What do you think about this relationship with Lula and Trump today? And they're saying something's going to happen. We're going to get a deal done.
All right, so a couple things. One thing is, regardless of what you think of Lula's politics, he's a generational political talent, kind of like you can say that of Obama. I mean, he's been around for a long time. He was hated when he first ran. Brazil was not a left-wing country. I've never met a person with more visceral charisma than Lula. The first time I ever interviewed him, after 5 minutes, I was like entranced. I was like, wait a minute, you can't, that's not your role here. This is what you do. I had to fight against it. He's incredibly personally charming, like insane, and it's real. He comes from like a genuine background of poverty.
Yeah.
He was one of 9 kids. He worked in a factory, lost a finger, the whole iconography. He's not to be underestimated in terms of his interpersonal skills. And he charmed Trump. Trump didn't like Lula because Trump loves Bolsonaro. Lula's putting him in prison. Lula's a left-wing figure. After one phone call with Lula, Trump totally changed his tune and is saying like, yeah, he's a really nice guy. He goes and met with him, and the whole tone changes. The thing is, Lula is not in charge of the country. Lula's a puppet. He's a symbol. There's a center-right faction, kind of like a Never Trump faction. It would be like if Kamala won, a lot of the people who would be running foreign policy would be neocons. It wouldn't be like anything left-wing. And you have Alexandre de Moraes. He's a center-right figure, got appointed by a center-right president, not by the left, who's in charge of the country, censoring people, imprisoning political opponents of Lula's. Lula's, acquiescing to it. He's fine with it. But Lula's not where the power resides. Lula is the only person Lula was in prison. And the Supreme Court let Lula out of prison. They used my reporting as a pretext. But the real reason they let him out is because they wanted Bolsonaro gone. And there was only one person in the country who had a chance to beat Bolsonaro, and it was Lula. They had to invalidate his conviction to do so, let him out of prison. That's what they did. The thing is that Brazil is a very, important country. Geostrategically, has tons of oil, has tons of minerals, and Trump wants those. Trump also, as I said, Brazil has moved toward China. Brazil is always, it's in our hemisphere. It's the Monroe Doctrine. We control Latin America. Brazil has moved toward China. Brazil is a founding member of BRICS, which Trump hates and sees as a threat. And also they're imprisoning Bolsonaro in a way that Trump identifies with. He looks at Bolsonaro and sees him as a victim of the same kind of lawfare that victimized Trump. And they're censoring a lot of people on the right, including people who, there's a lot of ties between MAGA world and the Brazilian right, between Bolsonaristas. So you have people in the State Department, in the White House who hate Lula and Moraes. And so they've imposed sanctions on Brazil, tariffs on Brazil that were kind of punitive, but also I think it was because of BRICS. But also they sanctioned Alexandre de Moraes and his wife as human rights violators, And so the question is the U.S. really going to follow through with this antagonism toward Brazil, or is this going to just all get resolved? Lula wants to resolve it. He's running for re-election next year, needs to resolve it. These tariffs can harm Brazil's economy, already are. And I think Lula's kind of on this Trump offensive.
What do you think Trump's going to ask for?
I think they want Brazil to move away from China, to move more toward the United States in terms of commerce and trade.
Will?
Lula is a very shrewd political... Here's the thing. On the one hand, Lula was alive, and not just alive, but politically active in the 60s when the U.S. overthrew their democratically elected center-left government and imposed a right-wing military dictatorship. And the entire Brazilian left, views that as the worst thing that ever happened in Brazilian history and blames the United States for it for not unreasonable reasons. So Lula naturally has an instinct toward resisting U.S. involvement, resisting U.S. interference in the country. That's why when there were tariffs, what really helped Lula is he raised this like nationalistic flag, like Brazilians determine Brazil. Who cares what Trump says about we're going to let our justice system go against Bolsonaro. That he adopted this very nationalistic posture, which helped him politically. On the other hand, he's always had very good relationships with the U.S., very close to the Obama administration. Obama loved him. Biden loved him. The CIA went to Brazil.
Obama said something extremely complimentary to him.
He said basically,
"You're the greatest politician of our generation," something like that.
Because when Lula left the presidency after being term limited out of office in 2010, his approval rating was like 86%. Brazil, those 2 terms under Lula, Brazil exploded economically, passed the UK as the 6th largest economy. Not necessarily because of Lula, but you're the president, you get credit. Also introduced some really interesting social benefits, like it's called Bolsa Familia. The poorest people get a monthly payment, but only if they prove their kids are going to school every day. Like they have to get vaccinated, they have to go to the doctor. The mothers have like an obligation in order to get the money. It's not just a free handout. And even kind of like neoliberals praise this kind of social program because it's not just a handout; it's forcing citizens to demonstrate responsibility. But it helped lift people out of poverty. So yeah, Obama went and said, this is the guy who is the greatest politician on the planet. Figured out exactly. And so the U.S. has always done business with Brazil. Very close relationship, even despite all this anti-American rhetoric. So I think Lula is going to, he's going to get these tariffs gone. He's going to give Trump what he wants in combination with charming Trump. The question is, I think Trump's just not very worked up over Brazil. Like it kind of bores him is the sense I get. There are a lot of people I know very well at very high levels of the Trump administration who are fanatical about the abuses in Brazil and want U.S. power applied to stop it. I just don't know if Trump is going to override that, if he's going to care enough, if he's going to just delegate it to Marco Rubio and Scott Bassett and let them try and figure it out without, I don't know what's going to happen. But I know Lula is going to absolutely do everything possible. It's funny, when Lula meets with Trump, it's barely noticed in the U.S., it's like headline news in Brazil for the entire week because it's such a crucial part of the relationship. Brazil for the U.S. is
absolutely, especially those two. If Lula meets with Biden, who cares? Lula meets with Trump. So the question, I'm actually really curious to know what the asks are going to be in exchange to make the tariff relationship better. I'm actually very curious.
They have minerals, vital minerals.
Do you think anything's going to be, you got to leave Bolsonaro out? You think anything's going to be with that? Because everybody knows Alexandre de Moraes is running Brazil. Everybody knows he's the most powerful guy.
And he's crazy. He doesn't care about. He'll sacrifice the whole country to continue his crusade.
So who cares what you agree with Lula? Alexandre is not going away. Yeah, how old is Alexandre? 63, 64.
Yeah, he's young,
guy.
healthy. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's maybe in his late 50s.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 56. Yeah,
56 years old. This guy's good.
He was just appointed 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
6 years ago.
The story of how it was conflicted because at one point some people are like, well, I think he's good. I don't know. And a boom, he comes out of nowhere. And then now they got the control of Supreme Court. I don't even know what the numbers. 80% they got control of the Supreme. They own majority of Congress, majority of, Senate.
And even but again, this is not a left-wing faction running Brazil. This is a center-right faction, but the kind that hates Bolsonaro in the way that center-right faction hated Trump.
Who's the guy's name? What's the guy's name that they can always be bought? He's on the middle and he can flip either side if they give him something. What's that party called in Brazil?
Well, it's a central. It's like the faction.
I know, central. Who is the main guy? Campos. Who's the guy at the top? The guy that's at the top of that party. What's the political party called?
Well, it's Central is composed of many, like União Brasil, PSDB.
Can you go to it, Rob?
PMBD. I don't know who you mean by like the main.
Liberal Party, not Liberal Party, Workers' Party.
No, Brazil Union, União Brasil is part of the Central. Is part of the Central. They have like a Speaker of the House and a President of the Senate who are both pretty transactional. Part of the Central. Central runs the Congress.
Oh,
they're
that guy,
very
Gilberto
transactional.
Kassab. That's what I was talking about. Can you click on it?
Yeah.
Gilberto Kassab is like a deal maker that, depending on which political party, he typically ends up becoming a final decision maker.
But the PSD is like a center-left party. It's not really a center-right party. It's a center-left party. I wouldn't put it that way, but yes, he's a very important, powerful figure. But what I want to stress is like Bolsonaro's Lula's vice president is Geraldo Alckmin, who was the former mayor of São Paulo, ran against Lula. was part of this center-right party, kind of like the Republicans and Democrats. It would be like if Biden chose Paul Ryan as his vice president. It's an establishment union against the Bolsonaro movement. And that's who really is in control
What
of
do
the
you think is going to
center-right.
happen to Bolsonaro?
I think he's going to go to prison. I don't think Trump is willing to sacrifice everything in the Brazil-U.S. relationship to save Bolsonaro. I think Bolsonaro's going to go to prison.
You're kidding me.
Bolsonaro is, by the way, he is extremely ill. You know, he in 2018, when he was running for president, he got stabbed, became very close to dying. His entire intestinal system was cut up. He's very physically ailing, psychologically ailing. I think he's going to go to prison. And I don't think Trump's going to save him. I mean, of course, Trump could.
He has to. What I mean by has to is not like I'm coming from an emotional place. What I'm saying is he has to is Bolsonaro's camp, everywhere you go that there's a Trump event, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And they're very much supportive and good to Trump.
Totally. No, the Brazilian right. But let me.
Nicolas Ferreira, you got Eduardo, you got.
Absolutely. They love Trump. But let me ask you this. Just be honest. Like, I know you will be. Let's say you're in a foreign country and the political class wants you imprisoned. And Trump says, yeah, I like that guy. You're friends with Trump. You know that Trump likes you. But the political class is saying, hey, Trump, let's do deals. All these deals here. Money, geostrategic advantage over China. Forget that guy. He's old. We need to send him to prison. Do you trust Trump? Do you feel like 100% you're not going to prison because Trump's going to stand in your defense? Or do you think you're going to be possibly thrown to the wayside?
I think it all depends on what and who he needs for the next phase and who has been very loyal to him. He'll protect the guys that have been very loyal to him. You know, and what I mean by this is, you know, even if you think about some of the guys, because he's very, like we talked about earlier, the unpredictable side. I'd put him 50-50, but I would be, if I was him trying to do the deal for me would be, I would do X, Y, Z. You have to leave Bolsonaro out. Here's why. If Bolsonaro is sick, as you say he is, who cares if you let him out? He's not going to be able to compete with you anyways. And the reason why I would trust that he would do that is because I do think in 2036, Nicolas is going to run. And if he is around, because he gets a lot of threats. If he's around, do you know what kind of views Nicolas gets when he gets out there and talks on Instagram? You know,
yeah. I mean, it's mega. I mean, he did one video that single-handedly tanked Lula's approval rating about this proposed tax on this system of
videos got 350
probably
million
that
views
one
this year.
No, Nicolas is incredibly. He's a superstar in terms of social media.
The way I see it is, I see it as him protecting Bolsonaro, knowing his health is not going to allow him to run, is indirectly helping Nicolas, because Nicolas is going to come out and play the role of a flag carrier, and the Bolsonaro camp is going to go to him. I think this guy's a once-in-a-generation type of guy.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
Unquestionably. But his political talent
Maybe
is
even
insane.
better than Lula, by the way.
No, I mean, it's different. I mean, but like, he's very shrewd, very smart. But the thing is, just quickly, I'm not saying Bolsonaro is terminal. I just want to be clear. Like, I think part of why he's so ill is because of the psychological stress that he's about to go to prison. I think a lot of the Bolsonaro movement wants him to run in 2026, and polls show he definitely would have a good chance. That's why they're not going to let him run. That's precisely why. He's not. I think they would easily. Right now, he's declared ineligible to run for the next 8 years. He was already declared ineligible before he was found guilty of attempting a coup. But I think he would obviously trade, all right, let me at least serve prison term at home or not go to prison in exchange for not running. They do have a pretty formidable guy who's sort of 1 foot in Bolsonaro movement, 1 foot in the center right. He's the governor of São Paulo, Tarcísio Freitas, who could defeat Lula, was about to be 80. So there are people who could defeat Lula besides Bolsonaro, but Bolsonaro would by far be the biggest political threat. Last time when I heard Lula with Trump seemed a little bored with Brazil, is how I would put it.
Could be. And
there's a lot on his plate, obviously.
Yeah, and what you're saying with, him putting it on as, hey, you go, Rubio, you handle it, you do that. But you said something about a lot of these guys that come here who are maybe born here. And but their families escaped Cuba or Venezuela, whatever. To them, they have an affinity. I'm from Iran, so I'd like to see Iran be free for me to take my kids over there, and I see that as,
of course, it's natural.
It's very natural. I totally get that. And balancing that out, you still, as the individual, have to be America first.
Yes.
It's like, look, I get it. I understand the nostalgia. I understand emotion. I understand the memories of your grandpa, grandma, all this stuff. But guess what, man? You're here.
This is your country.
This is number one. You better
this is where you're benefiting from. This is the country to which you owe loyalty.
I fully get that argument.
Hey everyone, I'm Glenn Greenwald. I am a journalist who covers a lot of issues, including civil liberties and foreign policy and the U.S. security state and domestic politics and Brazil. Also, a lot of people don't know, but I know literally everything about tennis, everything, so you can ask me about that as well. And anyone who wants to ask me questions or connect with me, you can do so on Minect. I have a profile there, and I would love to hear from you.
After 2 years of working on this, we have finally pulled it off. And let me tell you what it is. Every time we do the Vol Conference, if you've attended, you know this. I stand up and I speak for probably 45 hours is what I do at the Vol Conference. And I love it. I love being around the guys. I love it. But I wear the Ferragamo shoes when I do this. Or I wear some kind of dress shoes. Eventually, for the last 25 years, I've always been on stage walking around. I'm like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of it. I want a shoe that I'm comfortable wearing. And here's what I love. I don't like shoes that are so heavy. That's a dumbbell. You can use it as a weapon. I don't want that. Like the Xenia, you carry it. I have so many of them, but they're so heavy. Like you can literally curl the Xenia, the shoes, and you'll get a pump within 30 reps. And I wanted the combination of the Hoka, the On Cloud, the Super Foam, because there's a big thing going on right now with the Super Foam where the bottom of the shoe, you wear it. You know which ones I'm talking about, the On Cloud or the Hokas, right? They're so comfortable. And I said, what if we take luxury and then combine it with the super comfort? What would that look like? And let's build it in Italy. So what do? We went to Italy. We designed the shoe in Florida. We made the shoe in Italy in five of the factories. We went back and forth, God knows how many times. And by the way, the shoes we're about to launch and introduce to you right now, where you're going to see the video for the first time, I've been wearing those shoes for the last 22 days straight. I'm wearing them right now. I literally wear it with suits. I wore it yesterday when we went to lunch. I wear it every single day. It's the most comfortable shoes I have, yet it's authentic Italian leather. Rob, if you don't mind playing the video, go for it. Here's the video of the latest shoe, the FLBs. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. Boom. There you go. Designed in Florida, 100% made in Italy. 50 hands touch each shoe that was made. And here's what's unique about it. I want to kind of show this to everybody that knows this. And I've worn pretty much every one of these shoes. So if you compare this, the Italian leather, of course, it's made in Italy. It's not assembled, made in China, assembled in Italy, 100% made in Italy, assembled in Italy. It's FLBs, Berluttis, which are $18.40, Ferragamos are $8.95, Xenias are $11.90, and Gucci's are $9.50. Leather premium lining, all of them except for Gucci. Laceless feature, it's the FLBs, the Berluttis, you have laces, Ferragamos laceless, and then you have also the Xenias, and then the Gucci's have the laces. I don't want to wake up in the morning, put laces on. I want to get out the house. Took me 3 seconds to put my shoes on today. Craftsman, 5 different Italian factories all made this shoe. Berluttis are the same as us, as well as FLB. But the only shoe, these trainers, the only one in the world today, according to the factories that told me this in Italy, that has the super foam, the only one that has the same super foam used in the On Clouds and the Hokas, it's the FLBs, and they're officially out, and you can place the order. Here's a challenge. We only have 1,000 of these pairs. And when you say 1,000 of these pairs, they start from size, I believe, is it 8? It goes 8, 9, 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, 12, 13. Those are the sizes that we have. And the shoes that you can get today, the colors, you have access to, Rob, if you can go back there, you can have access to those browns, which is absolutely beautiful. And by the way, the brown on the bottom, the stitching on the side is a left stitching. If you can change the picture, and on the bottom it says the future looks bright. Look at the white lines on the side. It's beautiful. The only ones we have right now that you can get sent out today are the black and the browns. If you do want the white to pre-order, I would highly recommend you do so. They're going to come out the second week of December. So the white and the navy blue comes out the second week of December. The browns and the blacks are available. If you believe the future looks bright as much as we do, go place the order. There's nothing like sitting in the boardroom with your trainers and you put your feet over your knee and people look at the bottom of your shoe and it says future looks bright. That's how you get deals done. All right, so they're out. I'm excited to announce it, and I'm very happy for people to go sport it. When you get them, take pictures, send it our way. We're going to show all these shoes, all the pictures that are being taken. I already got a bunch of them sent to me on Instagram. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order. It's all over the website. Maybe buy it for your husband, buy it for your brother, buy it for your coworkers, buy it for your best salespeople if you want to let them know the future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.